Hello, Moses.
How are you? Hope you're fine. This is the Shy Yeti Show.
Okay, where you go?
Why have I got a voice?
Oh no.
Oh, it's the Shy Life Podcast.
Oh, there's going to be some drama ahead.
All I wanted was a pie, and then I hatched out of an egg.
Okay, bring the mic over. He's ready to record.
Is it metaphorical? Is it deep?
Oh, your show's getting so international, Paul.
Boy, he's not all that shy as right.
Blimey, Governor. It's the Shy Life Podcast.
Oh my goodness.
Hello, Paul.
I don't know how he's done it.
700. Here and save text.
774.
774. Bonjour et bienvenue au podcast de Shy Life.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Shy Life Podcast with me, Paul the Shy Yeti. How are you doing? I'm alright. So, what's this episode about? Well, today we're going to go to Sutton Park. At least that was what the plan was, but then, well, something else happened. I think you better listen and see. Join us on the day when we were supposed to go to Sutton Park, but didn't because something weird happened. All right, run that theme music.
Darling, it's the Shy Life Podcast.
My favorite person is me.
Keep it rolling.
Yes, but it's a positive statement for me. The High Life, the Shy Life.
Go Shy Yetis.
I'll go anyway for potato.
Hello, Gaffers. How are you?
Oh my, have you ever found out my secret? Did you have it?
I love the Yeti test. It's my favorite thing.
If you thought that was bad, just listen to this.
Yeah, I'm strangely drawn to Yeti Uncle John's ankles as well.
I could eat my body weight in crisps.
Has anyone seen my hot sausage?
It's all gooey and meaty and yum.
It was enormous.
I don't think I'm ready to speak about it.
It's been a while.
That's right. Here comes the grizzly.
It's the Shy Life Podcast.
I can't wait for it to begin.
Alright, I'm just being an alien.
I like that.
Hi there.
Marvelous, Paul.
So, yes, as I say, we were supposed to be going to Sutton Park, earlier today, but then something happened, and now we're not. Well, it's too late to go now. Anyway, it all went a bit like this.
Sutton Park today. We're going to Sutton Park today. Yay, Sutton Park today. I'm not at all excited about going.
No, of course not. It's very early.
We're going to Sutton Park today. Do.
Have you made the coffee? I need coffee.
Coffee.
We're going to do flasks of coffee for the journey.
Yes. And I hope you drink it hot and fast because we must be underway to Sutton Park.
No, I mean...
Not that I'm even the tiniest bit excited.
No, not at all.
Oh, that's just wonderful. Yes.
Yeti Uncle John should be here any minute, but he's late. Oh, yes, but it's fine.
Coffee. Here's your coffee. Drink.
All right. But we need. Have you done the flasks for the journey?
No. Yes. No. I'll have to do that.
Yes, you do that. Oh, Crobbety's coming. Maybe he'll know where Yeti Uncle John is. Crobbety, where's Yeti Uncle John? He shouldn't he be here by now? Yes, Paul. I don't know. I'm sure he will be here. Look, I need you to see this. What? This letter. What letter? This letter. Come over here. Comedy, why the secrecy? What's going on? Look at this letter, then you'll understand. All right. Oh, it's one of those weird letters made of like newspaper letters cut out, Exactly, yes. But read what it says. Right. What does it say? Let me get my glasses. Hubert Gentry is the Shy Life Poopcast podcaster. Well, you know what this is. It's him. Hubert is the Shy Life Poopcast podcaster. I mean, what proof is there? Well, I don't know. But aren't you going to ask him about it? I don't know. I mean, but if Hubert is the Shy Life Poopcast podcaster, then who has sent this letter? Somebody that works with him? It could just be a letter from the Shy Life Poopcast trying to cause trouble. Well, it could be, Paul, or maybe it isn't. Oh dear. I do have other proof, but I think you need to. We're going to have to cancel the trip today because I think this needs to be sorted. You're worrying me now. What other proof do you have? Well, I have a podcast and a new episode of the podcast where there's a voice that I think you would agree it will remind you of Hubert. Okay. And I have something else, but, well, I want us to present the case to him, to confront Hubert. Oh, look, I don't want to spoil his day. He's so excited. Paul, we have to deal with this matter now. We can't be taking him to Sutton Park if he's somehow working against us behind our backs. I was looking forward to going to Sutton Park too. I know you were. But this can't go unchecked. Oh dear. Well, come with me. We need to go and speak to Hubert then. Yes. Well, you'll see. You'll understand when you see the last piece of evidence. Hubert, have you done those flasks?
We're going to Sutton Park. Oh, hello, Cromitty. We're going to Sutton Park today. I can't wait. Paul, have you finished your coffee? I've got the flasks. I'm completely ready to go. Where's Uncle John? Yeti Shy Uncle. Where's his cab?
We may not be able to go to Sutton Park today.
What?
Because we've received something in the post.
I'm hearing things. I think you just said we're not going to Sutton Park, but that's impossible.
I want you to read this letter we've just received.
A letter.
I've told you about this. I think we even discussed it. Do you remember that conversation we had the other week? Hubert, I'm so frustrated. I don't understand. Well, it keeps happening. I don't think you've met Uncle Warren, but he came over a while ago, and we found that there was this rival podcast called the Shy Life Poopcast, and it's like a gossip podcast, and they just
I've heard it, Paul. I know all about it. It's very funny.
Well, maybe, but it's giving.
In fact, it's hilarious.
Would it be funny when they start slagging you off, though? Will it still be funny then?
I doubt that will happen. I mean, after all, I'm me.
I mean, how can you be so sure? You're part of the team now. That they might slag you off like they've slagged off all of us so far. In fact, it's a bit weird that they haven't yet slagged you off.
I don't get slacked off. You know, I'm me, and I'm not a part of this show at all. I have a bar beneath your flat, that's all, and with a private entrance. And wait, why are we? Oh, wait a minute. This is the flashback. And I have lost my place. No, I don't know.
We're just trying to find out. We're just trying to find out who, because these people are clearly disguising their voices. We just want to find out who. And still, months later, after we first discovered the podcast, it's going on, and we haven't been able to close them down or anything. No matter how funny you think it is.
It is funny, but it's got nothing to do with me.
You said back then it had nothing to do with you, but I remember saying it's kind of weird you've not been targeted. And look at this letter. It says Hubert Gentry is the Shy Life Poopcast podcaster.
Isn't that funny?
But it's not, well, only funny if, I mean...
No, I just mean like the Poopcast, the Shy Life Poopcast. I think that's hilarious.
But what do you say about... Do you deny it, or do you say it's true?
There's nothing to deny. I've got nothing to do with it.
Well,
trust me, if I wanted to criticize you all, which I do often, I don't need to have my own podcast to do it. I do it right here in plain day, right in front of your faces.
I don't know. I don't know what to say. Comedy said we needed to work it out. I did say to Comedy that. Why would you send a message implicating yourself? Or, I mean, whoever sent this, how would they know? I mean, it could just be the poopcasters trying to point a finger.
That's funny.
Hubert, I need you to take this more seriously, because if Comedy has influence with getting Uncle John, and if he says we can't go to Sutton Park, then it's going to be very difficult for us to get to Sutton Park. But we do need to try and clear this up. We need to try and find a way to prove a little bit more conclusively than, I didn't do it. We need to prove that you're not the Shy Life Poopcast podcaster.
Nuisance. We're delaying my trip to Sutton Park because of this ridiculous plot twist.
It's not just this. Apparently, there's an episode that we haven't heard yet that somehow implicates you. And something else that he hasn't even told me about. I want to be on your side. I want to help you, but Paul, I think it's time that you listened to this recording.
Oh, must you?
Well,
all right.
I think we ought to, but maybe once we sort it out, the listeners can listen to something else. But I think we need to take this seriously.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure. So anyway, listen to something else. When we come back, we'll listen to this new episode of the podcast, or a bit of it anyway. Martin, hello. How grumpy are you feeling today?
You know me, I'm a jolly soul. I come on here and I get this reputation. It makes me really annoyed. No, it's fine. It's fine. I don't know. It's always hard to tell, because I usually find I'm feeling quite affable. And this list of things that are supposed to be things I get annoyed about that you mentioned, I always think, well, on one hand I get that, but on the other hand, so it's very difficult to be completely outrageously annoyed. There's too much real sort of stress in the world these days, and fury in the world at the moment to actually, some of these things seem incredibly petty, but they are the kind of things that sort of niggle in the mind and sort of get at you. So let's see where we go.
Well, I've got an interesting one, and I'm not quite sure. I'll tell you what it says in this. This is that book that I dig out.
Book. Yes.
The 1102 things to be miserable about.
Oh, it's miserable, is it? It's absolutely See, I just thought it was grumpy. I didn't realise I had its reputation for being miserable.
I think I'm too grumpy to be miserable. But this one, we can take in elements of this. What is it? The actual thing in the book says children who still believe in Santa Claus. I guess we can just take, just generally the whole Santa Claus thing. Is it right that we even introduce Santa, and then whenever it's
you see you're on dangerous territory here. If depending on who might listen, people get very upset about having to explain to their children that they've been lying to them for.
Yeah.
I tell you, it's interesting. I tell you what did interest me, and it's sort of connected, but what interested me last night, I was watching TV and an advert came up, and it's about horrible things in the world, and it's saying you must talk to children about them. And I thought to myself, well, as a person who doesn't have children, I've got the television telling me I ought to talk to children, and I'm thinking, if I just go up to random children and say, isn't it terrible about the situation in the Middle East, I would probably get their parents would be quite offended by that. So I don't know. It's an odd thing. I feel that as an adult, you have to accept that. I'll tell you what annoys me slightly more about the adults around me about this. It's people who are my age using expressions like 3 more sleeps. Just, it's a juvenilization of adulthood, which I'm starting to find a little bit tiresome because, it's not that, is it? It's just, I don't know. I find that I know that people say, oh, well, you've got to be childish, you've got to enjoy the child, you've got to find the child in your inner child and all that kind of thing. But actually, God's sake, we are grown-ups for a reason. We're supposed to act like them occasionally. I
was talking to my mum about this, and she agreed that we can't stand things like Happy Heavenly Birthday.
Oh.
It's just, as my mum said, neither of us are religious, but the idea of being up somewhere and having to, where do you draw a line? You might not want to hang out with your dead relatives it's a very infantile sort of.
Universal timescales, Paul. This is the other thing. How do we know how long a year is in heaven?
Yeah.
If there is a heaven, which I'm not convinced there is, but there are all sorts of manifestations of stuff that people do. I get, I have got no parents, and I haven't had parents now for over 10 years in either. And I don't wish them happy birthday every year. I find that in the same way with like Father's Day and everything like that. It's kind of, maybe I just didn't have a particularly, I didn't feel particularly well connected to my family in that sense. I don't have that family stuff going on.
I think, sometimes it's the phrase. Sometimes it's the phraseology. Posting, "Oh, my mum would have been 100 years old today," but I just don't like the babishness of Happy Heavenly Birthday. It just seems it does seem adults talking in baby language, and you get the meaning and you understand. But just no.
I don't know. Like I say, I understand it gives comfort to some people. Friends of ours live near a graveyard cemetery, and the fact is that on Mother's Day, the streets are packed with cars of people going to talk to a gravestone, and that kind of works for some people. I get that they feel that connection, but I don't know. I always find it a little bit odd.
Going back to Santa Claus, do you remember how young you were?
Yes, there was a starting point, wasn't there?
Do you remember how young you were when you kind of began to the belief began to crumble?
See, the joke is now I'm supposed to say what? But no, I don't know. I've always been very cynical, Paul. I genuinely, I don't. I don't remember having that kind of childhood. I know it's weird. I don't really remember that being a change. I know that people used to write, even up to this age, they used to write to Martin from Santa on presents when I used to get presents. But I don't really, because that's just one of those things that people do, isn't it? To justify the fact that they bought you something else that perhaps you hadn't. The whole gift exchange thing is bizarre to me, especially as now we've got into a post-gift exchange situation in our particular household. But I don't know. I can't remember. I remember a particular Christmas. I didn't sleep all night, and I remember we were staying at my grandparents', so I was on a bunk bed or on a camp bed in my parents' bedroom. I had to keep very still, and there was this whole thing about whether he's asleep yet or not. And of course, I've always been, for as long as I can remember, I've been a terrible insomniac. So if I am awake, I am awake. And even if I'm an 8-year-old, I'm still awake all night, and that's one of those weird things. So I don't really recall it being a particular secret. I can remember hearing noises, and the stocking or sack or whatever it was we had of presents being hung on a door. And all this kind of thing. But I don't really, I don't think my dad ever dressed up as Father Christmas or shook the reindeer bells or whatever.
Could it be because you're the young? I'm the older child. Could it be that because you were a younger child that some of that had escaped because you had an older sister and she might have let slip?
It's possible. But I don't remember. Certainly don't remember it being something that traumatized me. I can't. No. I think sometimes, weirdly enough, grandparents are more eager to maintain the myth, even though the cat is out of the bag, as it were, in the inner sort of family circle. I don't know. It's an odd one, isn't it? I can't remember.
If I was going to confess anything, I got to the stage where I was aware that there would be presents in the. This must have been after I knew it was all a fantasy.
Or is it?
It became a thing to. If the parents were out the house, like, right, where are they hiding the presents?
You're one of those.
I'm one of those, and I don't know. It must have been. It depends what year it came out. When Death to the Daleks came out on video, so I was about 34 at the time. No, I wasn't. I was about 16 or something when it came out, and I was very excited because I knew it was, well, partly because I had some pocket money, I saved from my paper round, and it was when I first started buying the videos, and I kind of knew I'd be getting one for Christmas, but I didn't know which one. But that meant not being able to buy one of the other available, which I had the money for, and I didn't want to wait until I wanted to go. I had the money now. So if I could find out which one I was getting for Christmas, then I could buy another one. So I found it, and I found it was there, Death to the Daleks. So I was able to go and buy Seeds of Death. So that's my excuse. But I think I was generally got to the stage where I was a bit of a Christmas present hunter.
It's weird. I've got a colleague who. Well, no, I haven't got a colleague. I had a colleague. I haven't got a colleague for a very long time now. I had a colleague who had to be very careful about ordering stuff online because her partner would open any parcel that came into the house, even if it wasn't addressed to him.
Yeah.
And so I basically ended up having to have stuff delivered to work because all the Christmas presents were being ruined all the time. Funnily enough, I don't have very, very many vivid memories of Christmas presents as a kid. I remember ruining one Christmas completely by announcing, probably on Christmas Eve or the day before Christmas Eve, that the thing that I'd been telling them I wanted for months, I no longer wanted, which, considering they'd ordered it and bought it and wrapped it, was very, very unpleasant of me, and I never got it, weirdly. But I also vaguely remember, this is a weird one because I've only just thought of this, but I remember my sister had bought me a Dennis the Menace annual, one year, probably 1974, because I think I've still got it on the shelf, because that's the kind of person I am. And but the interesting thing about that is I remember finding it on the shelf in November and sort of, what's this, and she said, oh, put that back, it's mine, okay, fair enough. And it was my gift, my Christmas present, but she put it on the bookshelf.
Yeah.
And yet, by the time Christmas, this is something about when you're a kid, because November to December now passes in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
But for some reason, when you're a kid, that's an endless amount of time. And I had genuinely completely forgotten about it by the time Christmas came, and this thing was there for me to unwrap, and I had genuinely forgotten that I'd actually seen it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's an odd one. The stash file. I know people do. Some people do play hunt the presents. I've never really understood why you would want to spoil it yourself. But like you say, I mean, you had purpose in your.
Well, I did, but I'm sure I did it other years when there was no Doctor Who related thing. It gets a bit. It's just I'm a bad boy. I've stopped doing gifts completely, and I don't do birthdays. This is why I fail completely to wish people happy birthdays at the time, because I don't do my own, and because I don't do my own, I don't sort of tend to pay much attention to anybody else's. But yeah, I never really get exciting, interesting things for birthdays. They just come and go, and we go out for a meal. I sometimes maybe get a notebook or some drawing tools or something like that on the day, just to give me something wrapped up. But on the whole, they pass me by now. And I think you get to a point in life where you just don't want to. But if somebody had arranged something sort of or wrapped something nice, seems a bit of a shame, isn't it? Really? Yeah. And I'm not a very good present wrapper. I'm kind of like. Grab a sheet of wrapping paper, roughly tear it in the can't be bothered with scissors, and then I just hide that it's such an awful piece of paper by wrapping it so it looks like it's an okay piece of paper. But then we've always been that sort of household where if my mum can reuse the paper next year, then she'll reuse the paper. Sometimes you might find, this is the name tag from last year on here.
Well, I think sometimes the better wrapped the parcel, the worse the present is. It's somehow it's somehow they're trying to compensate for something. I mean, I don't know. It's an odd one, isn't it? It's because actually I used to find present wrapping an absolute chore. I would sort of look at I know I had to wrap all these things and I just God, I've got to do that, and I'd set aside an afternoon for it, and it would take forever, and I'd be just absolutely sick of doing it by the end of it. And that's not really the purpose. It's supposed to be spreading a bit of joy and happiness, isn't it? And you're sat there being very grumpy about having to bloody well do this bloody chore.
What I quite like to do, I don't know whether I can bring it into some birthday of mine, but I'd really like to go to a party where there was pass the parcel. Or be involved. I never was responsible for not having any kids. I've never had to do wrap the pass the parcel thing. But the thought of doing pass the parcel, maybe getting some sweeties when you or something. I think that's incredibly exciting. I don't know. Maybe I should start a business where.
What would it be though? What would the thing at the centre be? Would I pack a polo mints or something?
I don't know. I thought my vague memory of Pass Parcel was that everyone gets something, and then there'll be each layer you might get some little packet. You know how they do these mini.
You're one of these modern kids. Yeah,
I'm sure the original Pass Parcel.
What is the point of a birthday party where you get a present and take it home with you? You're supposed to give a present. What's that all about?
I think sometimes you have those all the kids get little parcel, party favour things. I don't know whether 70s Pass the Parcel would literally have been. There's only one present and it's in the centre, and I can imagine the 70s Pass the Parcel would be very kind of harsh. These days it would be every layer would have something.
But you see, that's the other thing, isn't it? I mean, do you think it was rigged so that the person whose birthday it was always got the parcel?
Yeah, well, it's been such a long time. I just think.
And then, of course, you see, you've got to ask yourself, Paul, what is the optimum amount of layers that you wrap around the parcel? Do you get the snotty, horrible kid who rips off 6 layers at one go because they are
That's
far
not
too
allowed.
excited.
That's not allowed. That's dreadful. That kid. So I'm ringing that kid's parents now. And
Well,
saying,
I mean, presumably this is why you actually have to make sure that each layer has a different type of paper, because if you had the same paper all the way through, people wouldn't know whether it was just one thing wrapped a lot of one thing's gone around several times. But what would you say? Would you say 20 layers? Would you say 30 layers? The game would be endless if you made it 50 layers. Would you be bored out of your mind if it was 100 layers? How many layers is the optimum past the parcel amount of layers? Is it one for every person who's at the party? Is it? I don't know. I don't know these things.
It's a whole science. Maybe Dealey and I can just
well, let's say
trial.
This is it. If you had a business, where you were providing the past the parcel, right? If you had the business, you would actually have to work that out, wouldn't you? You have to say how many, and you would actually have to put it in the description. You will have a minimum of 20 layers for your.
Yeah. And then if you were going to do this sort of modern day one where there was a layer, maybe a little, those packs of sweets which are just like party ones. If you were going to do one in every layer, you'd have to work out how much you could actually wrap before you're because if it was so big that you had to use more than one piece of wrapping paper, then that could lead
the cost
to
is outrageous.
And you'd also I suppose if you were doing it as a business, you could make sure that each layer was a different piece of paper, because otherwise kids would be tearing through more than one. You can't have it. I think Dealey and I will have to have a go. I'll do about 20 layers. Dealey and I will pass it between us.
Well, you're civilized people. See, the problem is that you're dealing in some situations with a completely uncivilized rabble. And people they don't like rules anymore. Rules don't like that, So it's kind of weird. But actually, you've got this situation where somebody might rip off 3 layers. And
That's
you think,
dreadful.
Yeah, but what would you do? Banish them?
Yeah.
Go home, young scamp.
Yeah, put them down in the cellar. And if it was adults at the party, same thing. Call an Uber. Right, you're going home now.
I mean, is it again? I suppose I ask myself, is that kind of thing? Is it a terribly middle class thing? Is it a very working class? Yeah. What sort of kids are going to be at this party? Are you going to get hoodlums? Because you might get one who just whacks his hand through, rips off the entire thing, and grabs the present. And then you've got to ask yourself, what's the quality of the present? And does it have to be something you eat? Does it have to be something a toy? Does it have to be something much sought after? I mean, it's not going to be a PlayStation. Let's be honest.
No, I'm thinking like the winning thing would maybe be a little sort of square box of Lego or something, like a little basic thing. That would be the big prize, because that would be quite easy to wrap, and then you could base the wrapping around that. And then I think it would be like little packets of Smarties or little packets of, which would be the other layers. That's if you were going to be generous. Otherwise,
We finally found your Etsy business, Paul.
Yeah. Otherwise,
you spent your life just wrapping things in crap, wrapping Lego forever.
Yeah, you could, really, really harsh, and there could just be a really hard life lesson in the middle. I don't know what it would be like. In 60 years' time, you'll probably be dead or something. Really bring the party mood down. But
it was like what are the Chinese thingy cookies? What are they called?
Like fortune cookies.
Fortune cookies.
Yes, we've had run-ins with fortune cookies on the Charlotte podcast in the last year. So, and they are completely accurate. At least they have been on our show. But Okay, listeners, we're going to play this piece of evidence. This is the file? It is the file, Paul, yes. All right, I'll press play.
It's a new Shy Life Poo Cast. Hi, everyone. This is where we poo on the Shy Life podcast, which is a very easy thing to do. Right?
Yeah. It's, such fun. And we have got lots of gossip about people. We've got a new source of like a mole. I think you can call him a mole.
Or a gerbil.
Yeah. But somebody who's actually part of the team.
I just learned that there's a marsupial mole.
Oh, right, yeah. Well, this one is part of the show, and he is passing information. He is somebody who is in the very heart of that show.
Yeah, and he's got dirt. He's got dirt on him.
And I don't want to name any names because obviously we don't want to spoil things.
No, Paul Sandler. Not him, no.
And it's certainly not Baby Grizzly because all he wants is bacon.
I can't wait to hear that part again. Gossip. That's what we're all about here. Who gossip on the Shy Life podcast?
It is. We can tell you everything we know. Although
everything.
Yeah. It's all about their habits, their bad habits.
Yeah.
And we have actual. Information that we can share.
You've been listening to the Shy Life podcast too much, Antoine. You're starting to sound just like Paul.
Oh no! Don't say that.
Cromitty, I don't understand. I don't see why that implicates Hubert. Why do you say it implicates Hubert? Well, because they say that the person who is their mole is somebody in the heart of the show, and
Antoine, guess what? The mole, or the gerbil thing, or the marsupial. Anyways, he's someone inside the show. Yeah, that we contracted with.
Yeah, you can turn it off now. Turn it off, Cromitty. Hubert, I'm sorry about this. I don't see why this implicates you. Just because they're saying there's a mole in the show.
Ridiculous. That's obviously a very amateurish podcast, and if I was to do a podcast, it certainly wouldn't be done amateurishly. Therefore, I have nothing to do with it.
You said you found it very funny before.
Well, it is.
But Cromitty, it doesn't mean that they never said it was Hubert. They never mentioned the bar. It could be the shelving imps. It could be one of the shelving imps. It could be the builder working on the Magpie Hut.
Some of those shelving imps have wicked sense of humor, and they've probably been spying on you.
Well, Paul, I guess from the podcast you perhaps cannot say who the mole is, but I'm afraid my last piece of evidence is very damning indeed.
Oh, sure it is, yes, but...
It's a video. I have a video.
A video?
And you will see that, that there is no hiding. There's no hiding from the truth.
All right. We don't need to look at this video because I have nothing to do with it. But you don't want to waste your audience's time with a video. This is an audio podcast. They won't understand a thing. So this is nonsense.
We need to look at it, Hubert.
I doubt no.
If there's nothing to be scared of,
there isn't.
No. Well, if there's nothing to be scared of, then the evidence can't hurt us. Well, you just wait and see.
Cromitty, I'm so angry with you right now. I can barely.
Look, let's let the listeners go and watch. Let's let the listeners go and listen or whatever to something else. And when we come back, we'll watch this. But look, I'm on your side. I'm on your side.
Are you?
I don't think that you would do anything like this. I don't think you'd be involved with the Poopcast. It's too.
Thank you.
Low key,
amateurish.
Amateurish
is the word.
And if you hated us all, why would you Why would you come here and work in the bar? And
all right, I confess. Look, the fact is I sent away for a whole bunch of podcasting equipment. And yes, that's it there behind you in the bar. It's all set up. I'm sure you never noticed it. But anyways, that doesn't mean I've been podcasting.
Well, it doesn't mean to say you've been podcasting with the Shy Life Poopcast. Well, I am not sure. You should watch this video. Well, we will, but the listeners are going to listen to something else while you...
Yes, that's fine. Yep.
What about your what are your feelings about the dark? I know you've said like you kind of you might hear noises, or you might like being asleep, when the lights are out. What is your relationship with the dark? Was it something that scared you? Did you have to have a night light? I definitely remember having a night light, or if not in the room, then in the corridor outside.
It's odd, isn't it? I do remember there being lights in the room, but I don't remember particularly. Again, I seem to have managed, for various reasons, to block out most of my childhood, which is probably a blessing. Yeah. But there were lamps in the room. I remember this, but it's an odd one. You see, where I live now, specifically, whilst they're quite robust houses built 150 years ago, the front and back walls are quite thick, and if people are having to put a pipe through or something, they curse us for the thickness of the walls. But the actual walls between the houses, it's a terrace row, are very thin, so I can hear every word that next door say, and they can hear every word that I can say, I'm sure. And you sometimes hear somebody sort of snoring in the middle of the night, and you think, well, it's neither of us, I don't know. So noises now are not something, because they're just there, because it basically it's like being in a dormitory at times. And also the fact is that we have crows that dance around on the chimney pots and things like that, and so you get unexpected noises quite a lot. But I don't like the idea. I've told you before in other places that when I watch, if something triggers an idea, a thought, I would sleep. I would sleep with the light on if I'd seen a particularly disturbing film. I've talked about this in other places, but a couple of films that really, really unsettled me and had me lying awake thinking about them. And because of that, that can be, you are actually sort of holding onto the duvet and going, oh, what, whether or not you need the lights on. I do remember specifically, having watched a particularly disturbing film, sort of when I went to bed, sort of checking behind doors and things, even though there was no rational reason why anybody could have got into the flat when I lived at the time. It was a ground floor flat, so they could have done in theory, but there was that sense that somebody might be lurking, and it's a weird thing because it just sets off ideas in your mind. And I think whether or not the light in the room helps with that, I don't actually know. I suspect it's just that whole thing of shadows and shapes in the dark. The eye is a funny thing. I can walk around the house in pitch darkness and I know where everything is, more or less. And yet if you switch on a light and then switch it off again, everything goes a lot darker. Your eyes don't you need to adjust again to the darkness, and so then you can't quite work out distances and stuff. But that idea of sometimes a car might drive past and the light catches a shape, and even now, if there's a shape in the darkness, sometimes because your brain is not quite tuned in, it might well be that you've got a coat hung up on a wardrobe door, but for some reason it just it freaks me out. It can absolutely freak me out. But I don't think I could sleep now if the light was on.
No, I mean, I don't know that I don't know how much I was scared of dark things, like being in the dark. But like even last night, I was a bit restless. I stayed up quite late, so I thought I'd be tired, working on podcasts and things. And after about 2 hours, because I do have my sort of aches and pains with my rheumatism or whatever it is, and so that made me a bit restless. And I just kind of felt like I don't know if I'm going to fall back to sleep again, and I don't know. I don't know if that was insomnia, but I just kind of sat there in the dark and thought, I don't want to be sitting in the dark. So I turned the light on and thought, I'm just going to go and do some more editing or something till I feel tired again. It's more sort of a dissatisfaction or sort of, if I'm awake, I want to be seeing things. I don't want to be seeing nothing.
Well, sometimes I can lie awake and just, it helps me think. But actually, to be honest, my brain is one of those that sort of ticks in immediately. Sometimes I've been known to get up at 2 a.m. and just go and do a piece of artwork because the idea has struck me. And if I'm trying to just get back to sleep, I think I'll either forget it or it'll just sort of drift away and it'll never get done. And the idea is buzzing in my mind. And if the idea is buzzing in my mind, I've just got to go and deal with it.
I tell you another thing that annoys me, makes me grumpy, is
everything.
Everything. This happened to me this week. I mean, it's something I've even written a poem about. So I guess I got to the stage where it made me annoyed, and then I wrote a poem about
annoyed
it.
Enough to make you write poetry.
Yeah, I think it might have been one of those ones that is it prose, is it poetry? It's somewhere in between. I just had a little rant, but I know that it's a bit of a funny situation, so I sort of turned it into a sort of humorous thing. But what I hate is when people see a film and it's about aliens or something, or it's about and people say, oh yes, I can clearly see it's a metaphor for the UK's relationship with Russia, and you're thinking it's about a UFO, it's about a ghost, it's not about. Don't spoil it by saying it's a metaphor for something else.
Allegories. You're not a fan of the allegory.
No, I want it. If there's a monster on the screen, it's a monster. It's not Russia, or it just spoils a good scary thing. I don't know. I saw a film this week, and my friend said, "What did you make of that?" And it was kind of about a girl who was sort of slowly unraveling, and people just thought that she was ill, and then at the end she does get carted off by the people she thought were going to cart her off. So it's quite possible to watch it and just say, yeah, it's what you see on the screen. But my friend was like, oh, I think it's about mental health, and maybe it's both, or maybe you can see it. Take it
it's multi-level, Paul. It's got a lot of. It works on a lot of layers. If you just want to see it as a monster film, that's fine. But if you, it's interesting actually, because an awful lot of the film studies and descriptions, if you like, or books are written about 50s sci-fi in America, the sci-fi films in boom from the 50s in America. They're really all about communism.
Yeah,
the outsider and everything like that. The metaphor is there, and it's not very well hidden. But sometimes, let's face it, sometimes a flying saucer is just a flying saucer.
But even if it is about communism, don't spoil my party, and I can have that in the background, but I can still enjoy a nasty robot, and it's just when they have to spoil it so completely and say it's just about communism. It's like, can we just pretend it's not just about communism? Can we just pretend it's about some robots? Or what about Invasion of the Body Snatchers? I'm sure there's lots of allegories there, but let's not spoil it. Let's just enjoy it as a bit of scary. I'm quite aware that people out there are quite. This is happening on a daily basis, and that it explains Westminster, doesn't it? I mean, it's all pod people, but let's also enjoy the scary monsters. And
I found a very nice little box set of fantastic films in a charity shop last weekend. One of the 5 in it I had, but there we go. But the reason was it was only like £6, and one of the films I wanted, and I hadn't been able to find that for less than sort of £12 anywhere on its own. So I thought, well, it's worth duplicating one of them to get the other 4, really. And one of them was Day of the Earth Stood Still, which of course is very much an allegory about nuclear weapons and what have you, and of course it has a character in it who's called Carpenter, who's very much a Christ figure and all this kind of thing, who rises from the dead and everything like that. So you can read all that stuff into The Day the Earth Stood Still. But basically Klaatu, Barada, Nikto and Gort are just so iconic and parts of why not. It's just a great science fiction film. But again, the other 4 were Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, Fantastic Voyage, The Fly, and Journey to the Centre of the Earth. Well, it's just a nice little collection, and to pick that up for £6-7, I was very pleased. But I don't think any of them are particularly. Fantastic Voyage is an interesting one, I suppose, because it's about travelling inside the self, isn't it? But I don't think there's any strange metaphors other than Raquel Welch in a swimsuit and some tiny submarine, and I don't think that's trying to be anything other than that.
I don't know if this is. I just noticed this one on my list. Considering, I wonder whether they'd still do this at schools these days. We did King Lear. I don't know, it was either GCSE or A level, or A level. That's pretty gory. Lots of eye stabbings, and
it's like almost like school versions, didn't they? They have school versions.
I don't think we did. I don't think we got the school version. We got the eyes being plucked out, and it does make me wonder. Yeah, maybe they have to do that. If they do that these days,
depends, I think on it might be that for O level they do, and you get the full fat version for A level. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't allowed to do A level English. Weirdly, that does make me grumpy from time to time. But that was all to do with physics. But anyway, there we go.
The only trouble about A level English for me is that I got good grades in it, but I didn't enjoy the literature. I enjoyed the language, but there was no A level language.
Yes, that's the same.
I'm like.
Yeah, English language I was very good at for O level, and I was quite good at English literature for O level. But if you wanted to study it to A level, it was English literature, and it's for some reason it's not the same thing. Writing essays and being creative is that was just. But I suppose it's so subjective; they can't quantify it. You know what people are like? They like to be able to quantify stuff. If I think you write something that's good, and you think you write something that's good, that doesn't necessarily make it good. And or you might think what you've written is good, but a third person examiner might think this is all rubbish. It's so difficult.
I mean, I remember writing a ghost story, actually, because you and I were talking about ghosts for Vision on Sound recently, and I wrote this sort of ghost story in an exam, and I was so pleased with it that when I got home, because this is the trouble, I think it was a proper exam. It wasn't even.
You never see them again.
I never see it again. So it wasn't like I think if it had been just like end of year exam, then you probably would have got it back. But then I think this was a proper exam, so probably a GCSE, and actually yes, I think it was, because it was 1990, and that's when I did my GCSEs, and I went home and wrote it again because I thought I'm going to forget it otherwise, and then from there I wrote about 12 stories that went off from it, and then about 10 years later wrote scripts which were inspired by that, and we even videoed them, and it was a project I did after I finished doing Sutton Park, and that all came from, well, it partly came from
One essay question.
Or whatever. It came from an essay question, but I think it went back to, I was supposed to be, I used to have a lot of pen friends in the late 80s. And when we got to the stage where my parents were okay with me going up to London by myself, I used to go to comic marts, and I was going to meet my friend Andy. And the first time Andy and I met, we'd said we were going to meet at the Centrepoint building. Right. But unfortunately, he waited at one entrance and I waited at another, and we never met each other. Right. I headed to Westminster to the comic mart, went round the comic mart, got bored and left. And as I left, a guy walked up to me and goes, "Hi, it's Andy. You're Paul, right?" I could have left 5 minutes earlier. I could have turned left rather than right, and we bumped into each other. So we did actually see each other. Then obviously, because just no mobile phones to sort of say, "Oh, where are you?" sort of thing. So that was very fortunate. And obviously, once you've met the person, then next time it's not going to be a problem. But it's just that first time we didn't have photos of one another either. So. So I don't. He maybe he'd seen a photo of me. I just hadn't seen the photo of him. But anyway, it gave me an idea for the story where I did the same thing, where the two characters in my story in the exam question went to meet one another and they didn't turn up. And later it turned out that one of them, this is all very random Hotkirk, one of them, the other one had got knocked down by a car and later visited them as a ghost. The future stories. It was very random. Hotkirk, like two friends, one was the ghost. Then as it went on, it began to be, is it just in the mind of the guy who isn't the ghost? I just remember sort of thinking, this has got potential. I need to have a copy of this. So the only way of doing that was to go home and write it, isn't it?
I mean, now, basically, I'm terrible. If I even write a tweet I'm quite fond of, I'll copy and paste it.
I do the same. The same.
I mean, I don't write ones very often that I think, oh, that's a little gem. But when I do like sort of copy and paste them into a thing so I can save them. And it's kind of weird. I don't think now I could cope with an exam. If I wasn't able to photocopy what I wrote and just have a copy for myself. It's weird that you couldn't do that.
Or other people may notice. I wonder if any of my friends who I've sent text messages to, sometimes I might be sending them a text message and I say something funny and I think, oh, that was quite good. And then it's a little bit like it's a sort of a variation on what you were saying. I'll then go and tweet it. I think one of my friends sort of knows that sometimes I have dreams sometimes, and he asked me, oh, how did you sleep? And the other day I had a dream which was like a murder mystery, and it was all quite exciting, except my brain gave up halfway through and didn't bother to solve it. I was furious when I woke up because I was really into that. I wanted to know who'd done it, and I told my friend this, and I thought actually this is worthy of a tweet. So I went on Twitter and said, I had a murder mystery dream last night. My brain gave up and didn't give me the answer for it. I'm really furious. And,
it is weird. The creative arts generally, in exam terms, you actually feel, with a painting or something you've done, or like you say, with a piece of writing, you do kind of feel, where does it go? Because it gets marked, you get your results, but you never actually see that paperwork ever again, do you? And then is there a vast room full of all our old A-level art and O-level art? Is there a vast room full of our old essays somewhere? Or do they just shred the lot, which somehow feels like a massive, massive waste of effort?
You know how people sort of tweet, I don't know, maybe they Twitter about something, they tweet about something, and it turns out that it happened 40 years ago, and they still haven't got over it. Well, one of the things I still haven't got over was when I was at primary school, so I was about 10 or 11, and so when I got to the last year or so of primary school, the headmaster, I think, had an accident, and another guy came in as head, because the headmaster was also, it was a very small primary school. The headmaster was also the main teacher for my the sort of last year of primary school, and the guy who came in was, I think he was probably an English teacher from somewhere, or certainly that was his background, and he got us to write really extended story, not just a little story. He got us to write little mini novels. I don't know what the criteria was now, except that I was all into that. And one of the things I did was, like, I guess it was inspired at the time I'd read War Games, so the Doctor being on trial.
Oh yeah.
But it was before Trial of a Time Lord, and it wasn't anything. I didn't do anything. I don't know what I can't remember what the story was.
No.
But I know it was about a Doctor Who being on trial. So there's that story, and I was also really into the Avengers, and I wrote what I thought was a very quintessential Avengers story, where I think I probably had Tara in it. I probably did, and there was a list of names of spies or agents that were going to be killed, and they kept getting there just too late. I'm sure that's probably happened in, or variations of that have probably happened in actual Avengers. And then as they got down, that there was the end of the list was torn off, and when they got as they kept getting there too late, they eventually found the missing part of the list, and the last two names on the list was their names.
Right.
Anyway, I was very pleased with these stories. And then on the last day of term, because they'd said you can collect your stories and take them home on the last day. I was sick on the last day of term, and I didn't get. And it always made me furious that someone didn't think, oh, he's sick. He can pick it up when he comes back next year or next term or something. Or I feel like perhaps I should have said to my mum,
go in.
I just didn't think that. I just didn't. Well, I was unwell. I can't remember what unwell, but I really didn't think that they would chuck them in the bin if the people didn't. I'm still very bitter after all these years. Particularly, I've got a good record of everything I've written over the last 30 years or so. When I've been throwing things out, I've even kept stories where I did 3 or 4 chapters and then lost interest. I've still thought, well, one day, the Paul I'm thinking the Paul Chandler Museum of my writing and this is going to be fascinating to them because it's a story that the great writer never finished. So I keep everything, and that's 2 of the things, really early examples of my writing that could exist but don't, because some teacher decided to chuck it in a bin and not save it for me. If I was going to have a TARDIS, that's where I'd go back to save those poor stories. But what if someone's got them in a vault somewhere? One day I'm going to get a letter saying we've got those 2 stories. It's going to cost you a couple of million, though. It's not going to happen. Oh no, I'm not going to sleep tonight. I'm going to think.
Well, there's a reason. You have to put the light on.
Oh dear, I think that's quite enough grumpiness for one day. It's got me all. Now I've moved into anxiousness.
I've got you all of a tiswas.
Yeah. Oh dear. So we'll have another grumble another day, and
I'll try not to have such a terrible effect.
This has been quite therapeutic today. We've been delving into my past, trauma, Shakespeare-related trauma, darkness. It's oh dear.
Right.
Sleep well.
Well, that never happened. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Okie dokie. Speak to you again soon, Martin.
Take care, Paul. Always nice to talk to you.
And you. Bye. Okay, committee, let's see this evidence. How did you get this evidence? It just plopped into my my email box today. Don't you think this is some sort of setup? Do you think someone's trying to set up Hubert
Yes.
for being the poopcast?
And you said plopped and you said poo.
But yeah, I mean, where does it come from? Where it doesn't really that clear. Where, you know, it's one of those sort of anonymous. It just says the Chalet Poopcast, and you know, there's no way of really. I don't know. I guess I did try and trace it back, but anyway, watch the video. That's the most important thing. All right. Sorry, Hubert. Let's watch this.
Oh, very well.
Well, you're in the video. I can see
Yes.
that.
That's not me.
No, well, let's have a listen.
Hey, Hubert. So good to meet you. I'm so glad we can do this deal.
Yes, thank you for coming over and agreeing. I think this is a master plan of mastivity, or something like that. Lots of poo to go around on the Shy Life podcast. I can't wait to toss it.
I can make sure that it is, you will be paid with real money for being a mole.
I have your assurances that my identity will be completely secret, even from the audience.
Of course, we wouldn't want to spoil it. It's so great that you're working in this bar and you're in the center of everything. You can tell us, all sorts of gossip. Does Bettina Dupre pick her nose?
She does.
And does Clarity make very loud farts and maybe things like that?
I'll tell you, even though I've been in the Magpie Hut, you can certainly smell them.
Well, it's great. So, are you okay with a payment of this amount each month?
That amount? Well, isn't that interesting? Yes. You know, I guess it will do. But that's certainly enough to unseal my lips and begin to gossip and tell you all the nitty-gritty poo details about the Shy Life people. All of them. You know, I've got something on all of them.
Well, the more we hear, the more you'll get paid.
And you quite assure me that my participation on your poo-cast will be anonymous.
Absolutely. No one will ever find out.
Fine, good. All right. Well, I'm available to start gossiping whenever you wish.
Well, Paul, what do you think? Well, it looks very damning, I admit, but...
That wasn't me. I never said any of those things. Well, it certainly looked like me, didn't it?
Well, except you can do a lot of clever things with AI these days.
AI?
Yes, and Cromitty, I think there's one thing you haven't taken into consideration. Paul, I don't think it's AI. Really?
I think we should do a finger count on all of us in that video.
Exactly. It's what I've noticed. Because a lot of the time in the video, the Hubert person is sort of turned sideways, but there's one point when he turns and he's like looking around, and his face is, look, I think it's this point. Oh, Paul, come on, you're grasping at straws. Look, there you go. He's almost like he's got an extra eye at that point.
Look at that. That's not me.
No, and as you say, 6 fingers. You don't have 6 fingers, do you, Hubert?
No, look at my hands.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah.
There, see?
Not that there's anything wrong if you do have 6 fingers, but
no.
These little things are. I can't believe you fell for it, Cromitty. I mean, it's just something I picked up the first time just watching it now. Well, Paul, I guess you're right. It was very convincing. I haven't seen many AI videos. Well, I have. And I've watched quite a lot of AI videos.
So have I, Paul, and it's obvious that it's a fake AI video.
Right, so is that all your evidence? Well, Paul, yes, it's all I've got, I'm afraid. Well, don't say I'm afraid. Somebody has targeted poor Hubert, tried to blame him, and now we're running late for leaving for Sutton Park.
Yeah.
Oh, Paul, I'm sorry. I just wanted to protect us. I understand that, but we also need to protect Hubert, because people would instantly think that he was somehow involved. That's why they've targeted him, because they're not used to him being more sociable and friendly. And
yes, as unaccustomed to being in agreement with you, Paul, I agree with you. I think the whole thing is ridiculous, and I feel I've been exonerated.
Yes. I think this is Yeti Uncle John. Yeti Uncle John, sorry, we've been dealing with a crisis here. Have you been waiting for us upstairs? Well, Paul, I'm afraid I've got bad news. What now? We've had bad news, but I think we've just resolved it. Someone was trying to finger Hubert.
Oh, my, that's terrible. Anyways, Yeti Uncle John, we're ready. There was some snafu, but we're ready to go to Sutton Park now. Oh, you brought your cab.
What? This is what I was saying. There's big bad news. I woke up this morning and discovered that that somebody has slashed the tyres of all of my taxis.
What?
And on the windscreen they've written poop. You need some poop.
Oh, this is terrible. Are you trying to tell me we're not going to Sutton Park?
We can't go today. I'm sorry. I can't. It's going to take. I'm going to have to replace all of the tyres. I'm going to have to clean the paint and stuff off the windscreen. Why are they doing this, Paul? We've got to find out. We've got to call Uncle Warren.
Call the SPCA. Call the Army. Call the Navy. Call the King. The King. Call the King.
The police matter now.
Yes.
I mean, yes, Uncle John, this is awful. Oh dear. Oh, and all the time we've been arguing down here. Maybe we didn't even. You didn't slash the tyres, did you, Hubert?
What are you talking about?
He didn't. He's sorry. There's been some evidence, false evidence against Hubert. We've kind of proved that a lot of it is rubbish, if not all of it. What's going on? Well, I'll explain to you, but look, it's time to end the episode, so I'll explain to you whilst the music's running. But
I can't believe it. I've been duped, tricked out of going to Sutton Park yet again.
No, it's fine. We will go.
Well, that's what you said last time.
But somebody has actually, vandalised Yeti Uncle John's car as well as trying to frame you. So I need to speak to Uncle Warren. We need to find out this is a step too far. This isn't just a stupid podcast.
Get that Warren person back here and have him straight it all out.
Yeah, all right. So, sorry, listeners, we're going to have to go. So, join us again soon.
I'm not just depressed. I'm actually angry.
I know. I'm angry too. All right, listeners. Bye-bye
I bet
now.
I'm angrier.
All right. Yes. All right.
All
okay.
right.
Bye-bye for now, listeners. And we'll. I promise we'll work this out soon. We will. Yes. I'm sorry, Hubert. It's not an ideal situation. I'm still worried that somebody's going to, try and target you again. And although we've pretty much, I've pointed out that it's such a twisty-turny thing. Even, I heard Cromitty say to Yeti Uncle John that what if, you were doing this to make yourself look guilty, and then it was sort of resolved but then it was you all along. It seems these days that even if you've been proved innocent, you could still be guilty. Nobody believes anything anymore because people are always, lying and double lying and bluffing and
and creating AI material willy-nilly. Oh, yes, I'm very angry. I really don't like being accused of these things at all.
I know you don't.
Innocent?
Yes, I know you're innocent, and I want to make sure that we keep you innocent. You've got to be careful though what you do and where you're seen, and you have to anyway because of
Yes, I have problems.
Yes, I think maybe some of those. They don't seem to be that interested in you anymore. If they wanted to have found you, I'm sure they would have found you here. So I guess they've got other. But who could it? Or are the people behind the podcast the people that are after you? Could be.
That's a thought. That had not occurred to me. This web gets tangled tighter and tighter.
Do you remember a few podcasts ago, after we had quite a few, there were quite a few things going on and everything was resolved, and I said, oh gosh, we seem to be over all our troubles, at least with you and I, and I said, don't worry, I bet the drama will start again. Well, here we are. It has
here
started
we are. Again. That's right, Paul. Well, you shouldn't have said anything, and, I'm terribly disappointed in all of this and the direction things have gone, and, I say...
Oh, sorry, the phone's ringing. Why don't you answer the phone and I'll run the theme music. And yes. Oh, here it comes.
Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Yes, goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.
Wow. Really? No kidding.
Thank you, darling. And you too. Bye-bye.
Oh, that sounded good.
This show is part of the Pride 48 network. Find more shows over at pride48.com.
Oh dear. What's going on now?
Oh, it's the Shy Life Podcast. Let's go.
I have a voice. I have a voice.
You have a voice.
You have a voice. We have a voice.
We have a voice.
Unique voices in podcasting.
UnivazPods.net.
That is so cringe, oh my god.
You're a man of culture as well.
Hi listeners, we're back again. I just got Hubert to answer the phone.
Who is this? Who is this? Antoine?
Hubert, isn't Antoine the guy off the video? Put it on speakerphone so we can hear.
Yes. All right, here we go.
Hello, Hubert. I was just trying to call. I just wanted to know if you've got any more information for me.
Yes, but I just want to, in all fairness, alert you that you're not at all on speakerphone. Now, what were you saying?
I want to know whether you've got that information you promised us.
What information? Confound it. You know, this is a terrible thing you've got me into. If it is you, are you the evil person behind this silly thing that people are trying to blame on me?
Did you like the video? I bet people thought it was real.
It was obviously AI. You fooled no one.
So are you saying that people trust you?
Of course they trust me. I never lost anyone's trust. Well, maybe a little. But, of course they trust me. My word goes around here. Yes.
So now is the point that you do become a mole. You've been blamed. Now you are exonerated. And now is the time you can become a mole when nobody suspects you. I can make it worth your while.
Oh, really? How? You didn't think I'd ask you that.
Check your phone. You'll see an offer. Just let me know whether you're going to take part, yes or no. Goodbye.
Oh, goodbye.
What does it say on your phone?
Paul,
did you not realise that you were on speakerphone?
No, I don't think he did. Look at the amount that's shown there.
How can he? That's amazing. That's like, how many digits? How can he afford? Who is this? They're super rich. Of course, that's if it's real. I'm just thinking, maybe we should accept it, and we can call double bluff. Maybe if you say you will work for them, because I see what they've done now. They think that you've been blamed, and then you've been found out to be innocent, and yes, now is the time to work for them. But you could pretend you wanted to work for them, and maybe you will lead us to them. Who knows?
Yes. Paul, words like genius come to mind, which is not a word I often apply when it concerns you, but in this case, I think you're right on the money, which is a lot, by the way.
Yeah, well, it is. I think listeners, we have to be careful. We don't know if we're being, what if they bugged this place? I don't think they will have done, but you have to be careful. Go on, type yes. Type that you'll accept here.
All right, there.
It's sent. Well, I guess we'll see what happens next.
Let me guess on another episode.
Oh, yeah, it says, we will contact you in the next 7 days.
Oh, for heaven's sakes. Paul, this is all exciting and everything, but these delays of going to Sutton Park.
Yes, well, we will do that. We've just got to make sure that you're completely exonerated and find out who these poopcast people are once and for all.
Yes, and shut them down.
Yes, shut them down.
Shut them down. That ought to do it.
This is just the weirdest thing I've ever heard. Well, gotta tell you, I didn't expect that. Man, was that worth it or not? Oh my goodness, that was a darling little shoe. Whoa, I love that one. Ha, great show, Paul. Yeah, that was a good shoe.
That was beautifully done.
Oh, everyone's a critic.
I'm going to have some orange squash now. It's an exciting life.
Et voila.
Oi, oi, that's your lot. You can always call me
774. 700 and 704. 774. 774. 774.
774. Lots of food to go around on the smell. I almost said the smellcast. Isn't that funny?
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Take
Okay, stopping recording now.